Blog Talk Radio.
Good morning, everyone. It is Liana Voya from Montreal with Martha Markowsky, a Canadian fine artist, a painter, very much loved painter, and I have been looking at her paintings for a long time. Martha, the themes in your paintings are amazing. You have so many original ideas. You are so creative, and you know your strokes are so alluring. That's the word. Your nudes are completely hypnotic. You are an amazing artist, and you've been doing this for a long, long time. Can you give us an estimate, like how long have you been doing this?
Well, I've been doing this painting for 25 years. 2 years ago, I celebrated my 25th anniversary of painting full-time. And I had a major retrospective, which was held here in Montreal, and it spanned my 25 years of painting. And in there, you could have seen what I did 25 years ago, and as my work progressed over that time period. But there was always a consistency in the work, that it was not repetitive, but you could see the style. You could see me, the individual, in the painting. And it was well received. It was on for over 2 months. Over 2,000 people came to see the exhibit. We had the smallest little paintings, like 3 by 3 inches, up to 60 by 60 inches. We had furniture that I was commissioned to paint, orchestra series on. I had sculptures, which amazingly I sold many of the sculptures at the retrospective. And the people who came to see it, I mean, they were moved by what they saw, because my earlier works reflected a lot of the inner you and about life. And in addition to that, there were my landscapes, my cityscapes. My orchestra came in as well along that time, along with my nudes. There were always the nudes in there. So I have a variety of things to show, to paint. I'm never bored. People keep saying, "Aren't you going to run out of things?" I said, "Are you kidding?" Every day I see something. Oh, I haven't got time. I wish I could do this. In my car, I've got sketchbooks. I've got canvases, pencils, pens, brushes. My kitchen is a studio in itself. If people drop in, I have to quickly clean up the kitchen so we could sit and eat somewhere. I've got another studio upstairs, but when I go there, I just find that I'm removed from the beautiful light I have in the kitchen and the scenery I can see, which is always inspiring me. So my subjects vary from dogs, cats, flowers, to people, and I guess that's my main focal point, the people that I do. They interest me, be it in a restaurant, be it in a bar, at the casino, by swimming pools. I've got every time I travel, it's a painting trip. It's sketching the people in Cuba, in France, in Mexico, wherever I go. It's my constant companion. And this, to me, is a better memory, a better recording of my trips, better than any photographs I take. Because I could look at the sketch and say, I remember that day. It was hot. The wind was blowing and these kids were kicking sand in my direction, or there was a couple over there and they were having an argument. And this could be years down the road. People just get amazed when I start recounting stories about the various sketches I have and what was taking place at the time. So I do a lot of traveling, and predominantly now it's Canada, because I love the countryside. Quebec, I cannot get enough of it. The beautiful Charlevoix region, the Kamouraska regions, New Brunswick. People don't realize what a beautiful country this is, and I've tried to capture it in painting constantly. So my studio is full, my floors are covered. I look at it and I keep thinking, my goodness, what am I going to do with all this? I mean, look, it just keeps piling up and piling up. But every day you'll see another sketchbook has started again, and I think, I've got more things to do before I go somewhere else where the big canvas is in the sky. So I paint, and I paint, and that's my life. And everybody who knows me knows that my life is painting. My first love is always art and painting. And everything I do revolves around art. People gravitate towards me. People looking for lessons from me, and people wanting me to organize painting trips to take them on so that they could learn something and see different parts of the world. So I enjoy this. I mean, I couldn't imagine myself sitting in an office somewheres or reporting to someone. I paint what I want to paint, what I love to paint, and if you love it, well, gee, that's a bonus. I'm really thrilled because I look at my paintings as little children, and if somebody comes and buys one of my paintings and hangs it in their house, I feel that they have taken away something, one of my children, and given them a nice home so they're able to share all this, the feelings that I have towards art, the world, things around us. And as long as my health continues, I will paint until whenever somebody calls me to go somewhere else to paint something else. But just give me a challenge, and I'm up for it. And I do bronze sculptures as well. I enjoy that, except that I've slowed down. I don't do that anymore because it's very intensive on your hands, and arthritis is starting to crop up there, so I have backed off and said, no, sculpture is really, although I'd love to do it again, but I just have to take care of my fingers right now. And so that's all part of my collection of artwork, in addition to decorating my yard with odds and sods of different things. And people keep saying, you really should clean up your backyard. And I said, what's wrong with it? It's art. Can't you see the fine art in my yard? And they said, I don't think so. And I said, even my front yard, they say, look at your neighbors. And I said, yes, isn't it boring? You need to have some sticks and some rods and stones and things like that. And yeah, there's flowers as well in there, but it's all part of art. And so I think my neighbors all know this about me, and because there's constantly paintings coming in and out of the house, canvases moving. And it's my livelihood. It's my love, and I work day and night, painting, wrapping, shipping things out, drawing constantly. My kitchen table's got loads of papers and sketchbooks and pens are there. So everything is at the ready for me to move. And same thing with my painting. As I said, I have my canvases in the kitchen with lots of paints here. So if I'm sitting here cooking something, I can quickly just stand there and paint. And sometimes suppers burn or just sit there and get cold because I'm busy working on something. If I go upstairs, I don't spend much time watching TV. The TV could be playing, but I'll walk into the studio and I'll look around, and suddenly something catches my attention, and I will start to paint it, to finish it, to clean it up, to do something with it. So the whole house, bedrooms, bathrooms, is people love coming here because they always want to see, what have you done now? What's moving in here? What artwork have you put up now? And it's fun. It's really, really enjoyable. I wouldn't do anything else with my life, and I'm so glad I gave up a very good, very lucrative job over 25 years ago. I gave it up with all the benefits of the health plan, etc. And I said, no, I want to do art, and if I don't do it now, I'll never do it, and I'll probably regret it. And I've never looked, occasionally I do look back, I say, it would have been so much easier for someone to deposit the money directly into my bank account every 2 weeks, not have to work day and night dragging stuff around. But, that's usually on a bad day, and then I get over it and say, oh, no, forget it. This is much more fun, and I really, really enjoy it. When I gave up my job, many people questioned me, and they said, are you serious? I mean, it was a good teaching job, and I said, look, we only have one life, and if I can do what I want to do, I've always wanted to do this as a child. I grew up, that's all I did is draw. So I had that opportunity, and I was very, very lucky. I work hard, and I think I've become successful at it, and people enjoy my paintings. So there's something there for everybody, be it the orchestra series, the children in the backyards playing hockey or baseball, women at the beach by the swimming pool. So there's something here for you, and something for everybody. And I really appreciate this opportunity of talking with Leanna over my art and being able to share it with people. And hopefully, you'll go to my website, look it up, see the different subject matters that I do paint, and what else can I tell you?
Martha, I have a question for you. You were born in Montreal, in Lachine, and you live in Lachine. You've been here all your life. And this area is very present in your art. How did Lachine change over the years? And how did you capture it in your art? Because you said that you now start to paint as much as possible because of the developers that are coming in.
Well, I was born in Lachine, and I spent a good portion of my life here, but I actually spent a lot of my life in Ottawa, and that's where my art started. I was teaching and working over there, and then I decided to take up art and painting, and I was successful over there, represented with galleries and having exhibitions. And luckily, I guess it was interesting how life sort of took its path, because my parents, who currently were living, at that time were living in Lachine, they got sick, and there's no other family here. So I used to commute back and forth, Montreal, Ottawa, and then I decided, no, it's too much work. So I came back to Lachine to stay with my mother, who was quite ill, and then my father was in a long-term care. And I stayed with them, and I painted. So that's one good thing about painting or art, is that it doesn't matter where you are. I brought my paints and my easels and everything else, and I had my room in the house with my mother, and I took care of my mother and my father until they both eventually passed away. And suddenly, here I was back in my hometown, and I made all these friends, new friends, and everybody kept saying, well, you can't go back. You can't leave us. You've got to stay here. And yes, I was painting all these backyards of Lachine and Outremont, Verdun, and whatnot. And I kept saying, once I'm finished, once I get bored, I'm going to go back. I'm going back to Ottawa, because that's basically my home base is Ottawa. Here I just come, and I have a studio. I paint here. I help people out here. And I see it changing a lot in that Lachine used to be considered a workman's town. If you lived in Lachine, you were usually not of a certain class, and you were workers. My father was a welder. Most people worked in the factories here and whatnot. Well, today those factories are gone. Everybody wants to come to Lachine. We have the most beautiful waterfront that you'll ever see. Walking paths, cycling paths, beautiful restaurants along the water. You don't have to go downtown. And we're close to downtown. We're only about 10 minutes if there's not too much construction going on. It used to be 10 minutes. Lachine has changed. The condos are going in. All those old factories are gone now. They've demolished, and new condos are going up. People are coming into Lachine. It's now a much sought-after place. And as I say, I paint quickly because I see the neighborhoods being torn down, and the back lanes that you used to be able to go and walk down, a lot of them are blocked off now. They've become private property. You can't get in there, and they're not lanes any longer. So it has changed as every place else. I see this in Ottawa also. I have paintings that I've done in Ottawa, and I look now because people say, where was it? And I'd say, it used to stand right here. Now we've got all these beautiful condos down off of Sussex Drive and whatnot. And, life changes. And luckily, painting, you were able to capture a lot of this. And hopefully there's going to be a lot of memories. I see when I exhibit some of these backyard scenes of Montreal or Toronto even, that people come and say, oh, I remember growing up. I remember playing in the back lane like that. And, oh, yes, I remember my mother putting laundry out in the back and how it would freeze on the lines until you brought it inside. Oh, the nice smell inside of the house. And oh, yes, in those days we used to go outside at nighttime. There was no danger. Today we don't send kids outside because they have to be accompanied by an adult. But in those days, you know, you had your supper and what did your parents say? Go out and play and come back at 9. And it was pitch black and they didn't know where you were. At 9 o'clock you would come back home and that was it. Nobody seemed to worry about you. And I remember we were little gangs on the street playing around and late, dark at night, and all of a sudden somebody would say, it's time, we have to go home now, you know. And we go in and that's it. Today I don't think you do that. I don't see kids on the street at nighttime. Even Halloween, everybody's escorted. We used to go little kids, all gangs up and down the street. There was never any danger. Anyways, it's all changing things, and my paintings hopefully bring back all these good memories of the past. Also, it's there for young people to realize this is what was. It's a part of history that we have that they probably don't know about, but that probably they will appreciate looking at it and enjoying it, hanging in their houses and whatnot. So there's my rendition of how things are changing.
Beautiful, and I do remember some of it. I used to live here about 15 years ago, and it was changing, but not as much as now. My other question is, some of your paintings, the nudes and the women, there's this overflowing, beautiful sexuality, and I like the fact that you are not setting standards. Your nudes, they don't look perfect. They are not, you know, when I look at them, I don't feel like, oh my God, you know, I'm not thinking about my body. When I look at your nudes, I'm happy about my own body because it's not perfect. I mean, it's not bad, but it's definitely not a supermodel body, and I so love your nudes and the sexuality that comes out from the nudes. The women are so at peace with their sexuality. Is this Martha I'm looking at?
Martha, is this Martha in
Martha, your nudes?
Is that me in the nudes?
Like in metaphorically.
Okay. I tell you, I have a watercolor sketch of a nude that I did in about the early 70s. And if you saw it, like I said to somebody, I said, you see, I haven't strayed very far. My nudes back in 1970 were already the way that I'm doing my nudes even today. The women were very voluptuous. They had big hips, you know, small heads, and it's a very, very common thing. And even today, I remember going in and we have these live model workshops, and I'll go in and I see this one little model up there, and she might weigh about 100 pounds. By the time I get through with her, like, she looks at me and says, wow, don't tell me I look like that. I said, no, not at all. But I just feel that, I don't know what it is. It's maybe just a natural flowing, and even in the nudes, my barroom scenes, when you see my girl sitting at the bar, because I did a whole series on strip clubs, and the women in the strip clubs are very typical of what I do in my life drawing of nudes. And I remember doing an orchestra piece once, and I put a woman in the orchestra, and she was quite hefty. And this lady came up to me. She wanted to buy the painting. She says, I love the painting, but I don't like that woman in there. She's so big. I said, she's not really, really big. Oh, I would rather have a nice skinny woman in there. And I said, well, you'll have to wait eventually until I learn to trim down my women, because I feel somebody once made a comparison between my women and cellos. The shape of a cello is similar to the shape of the women that I'm painting. And I tell you, where it comes from, how I do it, it's a natural thing. It just flows out of me. And I'm very much into, when I do my nudes, you'll also notice there's a lot of foreshortening taking place. And that's another very typical style that I have, of taking something and elongating it this way or making it look three-dimensional, which is exactly what you should be doing when you're drawing these things. And I'm not doing your portrait. Well, you want me to do your portrait, I'll be glad to do your portrait for you. But I'm just expressing myself and the beauty that you see within the human body, so that everybody can enjoy it. And yes, I just take it very naturally. I don't even struggle at it, and people love it because people identify. We're not all thin. We all start to have different shapes, and I love watching people, women in particular, will come up and look at some of my bathers, and they say, "Oh my gosh, that reminds me. That looks just like us. We went to the beach. Oh yeah, we have those hips there." So it's something people identify with, and as long as I can bring joy to people, and it's not offensive, not at all. It's not intended to be vulgar or anything, and I try to make it very tasteful, so that even if children came to see it, they'll snicker a little bit because of look at the naked lady or something like that. But there's nothing offensive in it, and my nephew and my niece grew up looking at all these nudes, and would always, when they were very, very young, and they'd say, like, "Why doesn't that lady have any clothes on?" And I said, "Well, it's because she's got problems. She's just in the forest here, and it's just a story. It's not for real. Like, you don't do these kind of things." But they would analyze it, and eventually, as they grew a little bit older, they'd walk into the house, they wouldn't even look twice. They'd say, "Oh, that's a nice one. Oh, that's a nice painting you did. Oh, that's a nice lady." So they grew up that way, and people enjoy them.
I'm assuming that the strip club paintings went fast. They did, eh?
They didn't.
They didn't? Well, then what goes fast?
Oh, nothing really goes fast. I can't say. When I say, when we talked about the bar scenes, the strip clubs, they didn't go fast at the beginning, because I did a major exhibition in Ottawa with the strip clubs, and people would come into that exhibition and they would say, "We know that exists out there, but I don't need to hang it on my wall." So at the time, it was like, that was back in the 90s. So it was a little bit too risque for people to see the interior of bars and people sitting around, or women at the bar and stuff. But eventually, it turned around. And today, I have very few left of that series. People have bought them. People keep reminding me, "How come you don't do any more bar scenes?" and things like that. They're very, very still popular. The orchestras are popular. And the other one is the children in the back lanes. Those are 3 popular series that I do. So I don't, that's what I do.
What is your project right now? Are you working on particular projects? I know that you are going to exhibit at Ottawa Expo, and this is a major event. How many paintings are you going to be exhibiting there? And are we seeing the same themes?
We'll see the same themes. There will be about approximately 20 to 25 paintings, and the themes will be predominantly the orchestras and the back lanes. And I will try to introduce another series that I'm doing that is very new, very, very new, that people probably would never identify with me, and it's a collage, acrylic collage, and I call it my icon series. Very abstract, although you could see images of people with halos, a lot of gold and collage in there. So I will bring at least 2 of these to the exhibition, maybe 3 of them, and see. They don't fit with my other typical series, but last year I brought 1 to the exhibition, and a friend who was helping me out to hang the show said, "Oh, you can't hang that. It just doesn't fit in the scheme of things." And I said, "But I love that painting. I want to show it, And no, you shouldn't put it up on the wall. It doesn't fit. So I said, fine. And then we had a little table on the side, and I just let it sit on the table on the side in the corner. And I said, well, at least I could leave it like this, and I could look at it. And, oh, sure, leave it like that. Well, it didn't take long, and this couple came by. The husband loved my series of children and whatnot. And all of a sudden, the woman said, "What's that down there on the table?" And I said, "Oh, it's one of my paintings." "Really?" "Oh," she said, "I like that. I really like that." They walked away. They didn't do anything about it. And about a half an hour later, she came back. She says, "I love that painting. I have to buy it." I said, "Really?" She said, "Is it for sale?" And I said, "Yes, it is for sale." I was so thrilled. I said, "Oh, wow, I don't believe it." And so I said to my friend, "See, it is a beautiful painting, but it just, it would confuse people." But anyways, now that I've had that reassurance on it, and I love doing that series, it frees me up a little bit, changes my thought processes, and
are they spiritual?
In a way, they are spiritual. You can look at it, you can get images either of saints, icons with halos and whatnot, and I find them very spiritual, and I love them. And I've just finished a third one now, another one, and I'm hoping to have it in the show so that maybe you can take a look at it.
I will. I also noticed that the characters in your paintings are always busy. They're always doing something. Kids are playing, musicians are focused on their music. Nobody's just like sitting around and, waiting for the time to pass by. People are very engaged. How come you always give your characters something to do? Is it because you're a very busy woman?
Yeah, probably. I'm very busy, but I always look upon my paintings as capturing people in their daily activities, be it playing music, playing outside, sitting around restaurants, in the bars, sitting in a park, or the women at the beach, for example. You might just see them from the back, but they're doing something, and then it's left up to you to decide. What are they doing? It's nighttime. Are they skinny dipping? What are they talking? Because the body movements will tell you something's going on physically. There's something going on in that picture. They're walking into the water. Are they coming out of the water? I paint people and daily activities, what people are doing. People are constantly moving. Daily, and I'm moving all the time.
I would like to spend a few minutes on the colors that you're using. Red, very bright red is very present. We have 90 seconds, so just on the main colors that you're using.
My main colors I'm using is predominantly in the orchestra series. I do a lot of red, black, and white, and flesh tone. And red is very prominent, it's a passionate color. It's a vibrant color. It catches your eye immediately, and even when you look at my backyard, you see it.
Remind me of Seraphine.
60 seconds. Why Seraphine?
You remind me of Seraphine. You have that innocence in you. You have this purity in you that Seraphine had it.
Oh, really? Well, it's very nice. Thank you very much. But the color is very, very important to me because
she invented colors.
Yeah, I see people, like I'll teach painting and people bring their color charts in and talk to me about complementaries, and I'll say, what is that? You know, you see colors, you feel colors, you analyze, and the colors make the painting. It attracts you or it doesn't attract the people to the painting. So yes, I'm very, very fascinated with color.
Thank you very much, everyone. Martha's website is marthamarkowski.com, and your email is marthamarkowski@hotmail.com. Thank you very much for being with us today, and time really flew. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much for the interview. It was fun.
Bye-bye, everyone.